All right, Jesus Dojo, you have sat at the feet of Jesus. You have learned from the master teacher about the way of God through the life of Jesus, and you've seen how he's went about making disciples. And then you've made the difficult but very important move of contextualizing the practices or way of Jesus into our modern day context. And so next is to go live it out. It's to take that agreed upon practice that your community came up with and actually go integrate it into your daily life. This is what we call a transformative action. It is helping us move from here to there in our understanding of what it means to trust and follow Jesus. It's that simple. Now, what is important for you guys to know and believe about this process is that you are becoming holier through it. Now, that may have some negative connotations for some of you, but the biblical definition of holy is just becoming more like Jesus. Jesus is the personification. He is God made flesh. He is fully God, fully man. And so when we look at his life and when we surrender and die to our own life, and say, I'm going to trust that the way of Jesus is the correct way to live life that aligns my life with God and therefore leads me to a more fruitful and abundant life. When we do that, even in these small ways that are hopefully fun and engaging as we settle on these in our Jesus Dojo, hopefully they're fun, engaging, exciting actions that you guys take. But as we do that, you actually are becoming more like Jesus, even in small incremental ways. But the importance is in the action. And I want to look at just one brief little scripture. Hopefully you've done the exercise together as a community through this passage in John and seen all the interesting things, different levels of it. But I want to zoom in on this one at the very end, one of these transitional verses that are so important to focus in on through the Jesus exercise, because they tell us they give us very, very important clues about how Jesus made disciples. And it's this. So at first, his disciples did not understand all this. And all this is referencing the triumphal entry, where the people of Jerusalem were laying down palm branches. They were basically ushering in Jesus. They were declaring him that they wanted him to be king. But it says that at first his disciples did not understand all this. Only after Jesus was glorified did they realize that these things had been written about him and that these things had been done to him. So this is a crucial passage to understand how Jesus went about transforming the life of the disciples. And it's in this, and it's what's so important for us as we are sent out as a Jesus Dojo to live out the way of Jesus, is that Jesus did not wait until full understanding in order for them to be sent to live out their faith in their daily lives. In fact, he did the exact opposite. He would often send them out to live out these things. We've studied in the past where Jesus sent out the 72, or he sent out the 12 and gave them instructions and all authority and power in heaven and earth to do these miraculous things, and then they went and did it. Well, here he's giving them the experience of his kingship, but they don't understand it, because what happens just a few days later, he gets crucified. So they're not really understanding. They don't have a full comprehension of the faith that they are actually living out, yet Jesus sends them out to live it out, because in acting we get to have transformation. It is in the act of going and doing that the learning that we have takes on new concreteness. It takes on new life. It takes on different lenses. And then as we live out these experiences and then come back and reflect more on them and then go out and do it again and incorporate new practices, God uses those experiences to infuse them with meaning about himself. So as we are sent out to live out these transformative practices, the key is to live into them, to actually do them, to not let these things just be learnings that sit in our mind. For the last 400 years, and maybe you could argue 1600 years, we've been very good as a Christian community, for the most part, learning about Jesus, to have cognitive knowledge about Jesus. But what Jesus modeled in his discipleship is something called experiential learning. He gave them experiences that would build up their faith in acting them out before they even knew fully what they were doing. And this is why our rhythm of learning and sent, and then coming back and learning some more and sent, and then reflecting, and then being sent out again and incorporating practices are so crucial. Because what we're encouraging you to do as a community is to go live out the way of Jesus, and then allow Jesus and God to come in and transform those experiences into meaningful ways that reveal Him. Now, as a closing discussion, go back and think through the most transformative learning experiences that you've had, where you've went from here to there, regardless of what it is, whether it's in your job or your parenting or your personal life, or I know a few of you are really into dietary things right now. What were the things, and getting physically fit, what were the things that helped you transform to go from here to there in that transformative experience? I think we'll find at the root of that this thread, or this commonality of action leading to learning, or this action leading to experience that leads to transformation. So process these things, think through them, and by all means, encourage one another in both the intimate space and personal space to live out these ways, so that we can experience transformation, holiness, growing into the likeness of Christ, trusting and following Him with every bit of our actual, real, tangible, everyday lives.